You don't go around and you know what, I feel like, I'm so stressed, I'm gonna get myself a big bowl of salad.
Exactly.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to Dogs and Dialogues, the intersection of aesthetics and wellness. I'm Dr. Max, and joining me today is Dr. Irfan.
Hello.
In this episode, we will delve into the topic of how food affect your skin appearances. So, let's dive right in, and once again, welcome. We are what we eat, and as we all know, skin is the largest organ in our human body.
That's true.
So, we rely on a balanced diet of water, grains, fruits, vegetables, healthy fats, and proteins. So if your daily nutritional intake lacks significant food groups, your skin will not get the vitamins and minerals to stay healthy. Well-balanced diet can promote healthy skin, reduce chronic conditions, and prevent premature aging.
That is true. When we talk about diet and when we talk about beauty and our skin, there are, as you mentioned, there are a few things that we take into consideration. The biggest thing that is always important for the skin, as you said, is water. When we talk about hydration, there are certain things that we have to think about when it comes to things that we consume. The most important and basic thing would be water. I know it feels like a very simple answer to it, but hydration, if nothing else, it really does relate to your water intake.
Yes.
And we've heard this whole story about how many liters of water you should drink in a day. But let's zoom in a little bit and we talk about how water really affects our skin. The amount of water that we take in a day, because our body, the largest surface area is our skin. So the skin, as exposed as it is, it releases water, right? So you tend to get dehydrated. There are dietary habits that influence this, right? Number one being how much water intake you have in a day. Another part of it is how much the things that you take that actually exposes you to become dehydrated. Those who drink caffeinated water or coffee, for an example, they tend to become dehydrated much quicker. Those who have very high level of alcohol consumption, it dehydrates your body. And the first place that would lose water is your skin. And let's zoom in even further when we talk about the skin. What is protecting our skin from water loss? Our skin forms like a lipid barrier. So these are chains of fatty acids. So it's fat, right? It's a layer of fat and oil that prevents our skin from losing water. These are the things that are important for you to take. In this case, for example, omega-3 fatty acids, food that is rich with something like that. In this case being your fish, your chia seeds, walnuts,
salmon, fish, mackerel, anchovies,
eggs, greater intakes of this kind of fatty acids, food that is rich in fatty acids, it really helps creating that barrier that prevents water loss from specifically your skin. There is a way to measure this. We call this our transhabitable water loss.
TWL, right?
This kind of food, and in fact, there have been studies that has shown this kind of dietary habit actually does improve the hydration. If we move away from hydration, what other elements you feel is important when it comes to maintaining a good skin and maintaining some sort of beauty?
In my opinion, right? Because nowadays we are talking about, a lot of people are living in the cities, and as a city dwellers, we've always find ourselves living a very hectic lifestyle. Stress plays an important role in determining our skin health is because the fact that when we are under stress, the hormone cortisol, which is also called stress hormone, the levels will increase. A spike in cortisol levels, we tend to increase our food consumption. We try to find our comfort food. People will say, when you are stressed, you want to eat something sweet.
Exactly.
You want to indulge yourself.
Exactly.
This is a very bad vicious cycle because when your cortisol hormone is already high and spiking, if you still intake foods which are high in sugar and fats, right, it will go into a deep down spiral where it will increase the risk of inflammation and make your skin more prone to breakouts.
Right.
In order to combat this situation, stress management is equally important, but it's also important to note that not to always indulge too much on foods which have high glycemic index and also high sugar and high fats.
When you talk about sugary food, that is very interesting because what you said is true. The spike of cortisol in relation to stress does in fact increase cravings, and no one craves for healthy food. You don't go around and you know what, I feel like, you know, I'm so stressed, I'm gonna get myself a big bowl of salad. It doesn't work that way. It's not just generally because leafy vegetables or healthy food is a matter of perception, not really. Because especially when we talk about the things that drives us, and we are talking about hormones here, right?
Correct.
Sometimes like it's not something that we can really decide. We can really decide, right? But zooming in even further, right? When we talk about taking very sugary food in relation to cravings, you know, things that are very high in glycemic index, this kind of food, they actually increase in production of sebum. In this case, oil on your skin that even further stimulates and causes inflammation on the skin, and in this case worsens acne. That is the point that we're trying to get, right? You want to get to a point where, you know, you have you don't have this inflammatory skin, because inflammation, by virtue, again, the next step to inflammation will be infection. Even if we take a step back and we are not thinking about, you know, like someone who just wants the pretty face. We are talking about someone with actual skin problems. The biggest issues that we have nowadays are, as usual, is eczema, right? You are stressed because of the itchiness in itself. You are dry because the weather is dry and you don't drink enough water, and you take more food that increases the inflammation on the skin, and makes the eczema even worse, right? So even in those kind of cases, diet give a very meaningful impact on the skin. With or without skin diseases, with or without skin problems, also it benefits us all. Let's move away a little bit from glycemic, how sugary food and craving actually affects the skin, right? Let's talk about aging for a bit, right? The skin ages the same way every other organ ages, and the way that it ages is that you lose collagen because of oxidative stress when you are exposed to the sun every day, especially in weather like in climate countries like ours. You know, we get exposed to the sun very regularly. And you've spoken about using sunscreen in the past, right?
Yes.
And in this case, let's talk about antioxidants in a more specific manner. When you get exposed to the sun, you have all these free radicals, right? What they do is that they bind to the skin, free electrons on our skin. It breaks apart our collagen structure, basically, right? In that case, it makes the skin more saggy, more loose. And even if we take beauty out of it, right, it leaves our skin less protected. Antioxidant food, in this case, the rich would be berries. Usually what I tell patients, especially even patients with skin diseases, skin problems, right? Part of the things that you can take is increase your intake of berry food, right? Your strawberries, what have you. Also citrus food like orange, lemon, and all those kind of things. These are food that are high in antioxidants, and data research have proven that taking this kind of food also increases your defense against sun damage. In this case, oxidative stress. Antioxidants, definitely good for the skin. With or without skin problem, that is something that we should really promote people in doing.
Actually, I have got a few points to add. One thing that you mentioned, I think it's a very, very, very good point, is talking about the omega-3 being an essential fatty acid that is needed for our human body. Now, omega-3 is very good in a way that is actually anti-inflammatory. So besides providing the essential fatty acids, essential meaning our body cannot produce on our own. We need to rely on our diet and external resources to get it. So that is omega-3 being an essential fatty acid. Besides that, omega-3 has got also a very good protection for cardiac diseases to prevent atherosclerotic plaque formation by reducing the risk of inflammatory cytokines being activated. Okay, that's the role that the omega-3 is playing. One more thing, because our Malaysian diet, especially fatty foods like oily foods, like makanan berlemak, like kind of thing like that, right? So all these foods are very high, actually relatively in omega-6, making us more prone to inflammation. What is actually recommended is there is a proper ratio between omega-3 and omega-6 intake. So the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is actually 2:1 or 1:1. Okay, now we all know that sun is the culprit behind our majority of skin problems.
All right.
But we mustn't forget also there is actually something called as HEVL, high energy visible light. If any one of you all are interested, you can always refer back to our sunscreen 101 to know a bit more in detail regarding the HEVL. The foods, there are also vitamins like A, C, E, and zinc
Okay.
that support collagen production and protect against sun damage and promotes overall skin health.
Let's look at it in a slightly different way. Let's look at collagen as a big umbrella, right? The collagen is basically a structure. It helps to give structure to your skin. It builds elasticity of the skin, right? Why is it important? Because the skin holds a lot of structures in place. In this case, fat pads.
Yes.
Fat pads on your face, right? As you age, as your skin becomes more loose, it's because it's losing collagen.
Yeah.
Or those who looks much older than they actually are is because of lack of collagen.
Yeah, the premature aging, right?
Yes, exactly. So people are racing around trying to find like what's the best. They are consuming collagen, drink collagen supplements and what have you. Part of it is also things that you can get from your diet. The building blocks or food that actually stimulates building of collagen and elastin on your skin, in this case would be vitamins, minerals, like the ones that you mentioned just now, A, C, E, K, zinc. So these kind of things are important in part and parcel in building collagen. At the same time, as with any other thing, collagen is also a type of protein. So you get collagen from protein intake as well. And you can really see this in play because the most abundant form of protein will be from poultry, from chicken, lean cut of meat, pork, those kind of food. If you take a segment of the society, of the community, which are on a vegan diet, right? They don't take poultry or animal-based food. What you do notice, the most apparent thing about them is that they have very loose face. Because taking amount of protein, the amount of natural plant-based protein requirement is much higher in terms of intake. So a lot of people, they don't have the ability to take that amount of protein on daily basis. So you do see a good segment of people who are vegetarian or vegan, in this case, they have not specifically loose skin, but not a lot of fat on the skin. You can see them, the face is very small.
Yeah, definitely.
So eventually, so you can make, in fact, those who have transitioned in terms of diet from animal-based to plant-based, right? You can see those kind of changes. But there are also plant-based protein that are very good, but the intake that is required is much higher than necessary. But the point I'm trying to make is that, as with every other thing, diet plays a very important role when it comes to managing your skin, right? Protein also plays a very vital role when it comes to fighting off infection, right? Even people who are sick in hospitals, people who are under high amount of physical and mental stress, they consume much more protein. That is a very normal prescription, I would say. You ask them to
blocks of life.
These kind of things are also important for you to look at, right? Even if you are a vegetarian, even if you take like plant-based food, you have to know where you are getting, where are the sources of these things that we mentioned today, where you are getting it from. So because if you're taking these sources out, you also have to find other sources that are rich and as beneficial for you as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's very important to look at that with the same lens as well. Yeah, I think we've covered quite a bit today.
Yeah, we covered quite a lot actually. And basically, just in general, right, the key to maintaining a healthy skin is about balance lah. So rather than quitting sugar and junk food altogether, but focus on what healthy foods you can add to meet your daily requirements and in order to improve and to make your skin conditions even better.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for Dr. Irfan today. And that ends our Docs and Dialogues. Thank you so much.
Westwood Clinic.